For this first mural, the client wanted a cypress tree swamp with cranes, blue herons, an alligator, and the interesting part was that he had a thick texture on his wall, and he wanted to take that texture down and add a new one that would have more of an old world feel. But he didn't want us to sand the texture down, so what I ended up doing was building up more drywall and then skim coating it where it would be smooth. And then we added Venetian plaster. Before you can add Venetian plaster, there has to be a quartz primer, and that quartz primer it has tooth, almost like sandpaper, and it allows the Venetian plaster to stick to the wall. And the type of Venetian plaster we were using was it's a medium grain. Marble dust is added with, I believe, limestone to create Venetian plaster, and the grain size determines the final texture and whether it's matte or glossy, depending on application as well. But this medium grain to large grain size Venetian plaster, it gives really a stone texture, especially when you put on 2 layers of the Venetian plaster. Now, we did intend on painting over this part of the wall with the mural, but we did the rest of the dining room in that same Venetian plaster for the top half. For the bottom half, we did a lime wash paint in the sage green. It's a lime wash paint. Now, on the ceiling of the dining room, we did the Venetian plaster yet again. However, we created a marbleized effect using 3 different tones of the Venetian plaster and applying it with the trowel and getting that marbled look. And then finally adding a gold leaf vein going through the marbling. We didn't record much of the Venetian plaster application on the ceiling because it was a challenging shot to get, that we couldn't handle both the application of the Venetian plaster on the ceiling and video production at the same time. So we missed that part of it. Now, the most exciting part of this process was, of course, the mural. The Cypress Tree Mural was so much fun, and I do focus on landscapes and wildlife, and I get a degree of realism. It's still expressive, but there's a degree of realism to that. However, for this mural, he originally wanted he had found a wallpaper of the cypress tree swamp that he liked, but he really appreciates fine art, and he wanted an actual piece of art on his wall and not the wallpaper. So that's why he selected me to do his mural, and he had liked my style already. So when I started painting the mural, I kept it in the same feeling, the same stylized approach that he had been inspired by with the wallpaper. Only this time, I'm bringing in, the way I saw it. So it's my interpretation of the swamp scene that I'm, pretty much making up as I go. And this was painted in stages, in accordance with his schedule. So, he was giving me, his feedback, and he loved the process from start to finish. And, we were able to make changes based on the lighting in his dining room. Different times of the day, various light comes through the window, and it changes the way the mural looks because of lighting. Lighting's everything. And ultimately, he had a light fixture that he was going to install over the dining room table that will also accent the mural. And at some point I need to get by there and get a video of the space with the new light fixture installed. That's something we need to do. That mural was my first professional mural, and there was some experimentation and learning involved with making it. And I love the process, and I just couldn't wait to do another one. And it wasn't a few days later that I was tagged in a post on Facebook about a three-part mural going at a real estate brokerage that was newly being constructed. And it just happened to be exactly what I do with landscapes, one landscape and two wildlife murals. And the total feet involved was 45 feet wide and 8 feet tall. So very large project that I got to do just immediately after the first one.